The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Wednesday morning, everybody. Excuse me. What did I just say? Did I just say Wednesday morning? Excuse me. Good Tuesday morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN, 9:06 a.m., 24 minutes to go until the start of trading. And boy, we had quite a day yesterday. Almost feels like Wednesday. S&Ps right now. We kick things off up by 14 points at 58.30. And yeah, quite a surge higher on the S&Ps. Futures, you open Sunday night at 57.40. You finished the session yesterday at 58.16, and we're 15 points higher right now in the pre-market, or about 0.25%. NASDAQ 100, we're up by about 0.2%, 20,420 right now. Dow up by about 0.2% as well, 84 points in the positive, 42,984. The Russell slightly in the red, 2,119. Bitcoin off about $1,000. You make it up to 88,800. Yesterday, 87,330 for Bitcoin. Crude catching a bid. Trump putting some pressure on Venezuela, ratcheting up the pressure there, and that's given a little bit of a bid, among other things, to crude. You take a look at crude, and yeah, looks like we may be chopping towards that 72 area. We're at 69.62 right now, up by 50 pennies. Gold holding up relatively well. We had a little bit of a pullback the last couple days in gold. Let's go back to a 15-minute. Friday's acceleration to 3,004. Yesterday, you trade down to a low of about 3,000 and, was it 7? Yeah, 3,007. And just like that, we're higher again, but we got a little volatility. Look at just this morning, right? $10 either direction. Gold right now up by $12 at 3,028. We jump to yields. You jump over to the 10-year right now, and we are negative by 2 ticks. We got a little bit of lower price and higher yield right now. The 10-year, 4.35%. 4.35%, the yield on the 10-year. Now, what's interesting here is take a look at the daily. And yeah, we got a little bit of a rejection of this area that's been an area of upward resistance. You were at this area back in December. We're bumping up into that area yet again. And you can see, even March 20th, my birthday, we trade up there to 111.18, and just like that, we're a solid point below that level, 110.15, and we'll see if we can break away from this consolidation, because I'm just going to throw a square around this one. You can see kind of a consolidation area, right? We're approaching now the bottom range of that, and we've been in there for about a month. What's remarkable is that big day we had, February 25th, a month ago, March 25th. So we've been shopping around there for a month. We'll see if we get some moves. We jump over to the dollar. And just like that, the dollar gives it up a bit, right? We are at 104.467 as of 4 a.m. this morning. We're down almost half a full point to 103.98 right now on the dollar. And similar with the dollar, as is yields. I was talking about this on the program yesterday. You know, we're going to get moves in both directions. And it's going to take more than 30 days for this market volatility to calm down. We're going to get pockets of extreme volatility. We're going to get pockets of calmness. But in general, okay, there is a lot of uncertainty, much more so than usual. And so you look at, let's just go back to a daily on something like the dollar. You go from 110 on January 13th, and really, right, the acceleration accelerates February 28th to March 11th. Not surprising if we get a little bit of a bid in the process. And that bid, even a 382 could take us up to 105. That's the most conservative bounce in the dollar. If you go a little bit bigger picture, a 382 takes you all the way to 106 if you start from where we were in January. So as far as larger trends go, not exactly a reversal. When you get 3 days of positive movement, you trade only from 103.2 to 104.2. You trade up 1 point after trading down almost 7 points. Okay, and today we're rolling over yet again. A little bit of dollar weakness. We'll see if that plays out. at the same time that we have a little bit of higher yield coming at you. All right, you jump over the headlines, and yeah, stock futures point to more Wall Street gains is the headline out there. And whether you're talking about tariffs, right? Trump said he'll announce tariffs on automobile imports in the coming days, and indicated nations will receive breaks from next week's reciprocals. Between now and the 2nd of April, it's just a phase of wait and see. Yeah. April 2nd is right around the corner, folks. A week from tomorrow. You're going to go into the weekend. We know how it's going to go. Okay, but is it going to get pushed back for another month? Is that going to be another deadline? How do you meaningfully plow higher when there's always going to be the premise of a short-term deadline 30 days out? Very difficult to imagine how that plays out. And yeah, secondary tariffs, right? That's going to be the new word that we're going to be digesting. Countries could face 25% tariffs on trade with the U.S. if they purchase oil and gas from Venezuela, which is already under heavy U.S. sanctions. Okay, so it's all kind of combined here. Yeah, it's all on the table, and that makes things very, very difficult. China's the main actor that's directed at, because essentially they're the ones that's the black market for Venezuela. I think the market's a little more worried right now, especially in the automobiles, about Canada and Mexico. China's a big deal too, man. You want TVs, you want electronics, you want all that stuff, right? And yeah, so Marco Rubio, he's going to get a little discretion. All right, we go from there. And yeah, oil extends rebound after Trump heightens pressure on Venezuela. Yeah. You got Brent up to $73. We just talked about light sweet crude. We're sitting right now at about $69 and change. And yeah, it is interesting seeing this whole saga play out with Chevron, Venezuela, and now you're going to have China in the mix with that. But China officially resumed imports from Venezuela in February of last year after sanctions were eased. They were supposed to have a give and take there. And basically, seems like Venezuela wasn't doing their part. And that's going to play out, but it's going to impact crude. And you're seeing it play out right now. You jump over to gold. How about some ETF action in gold? Gold trading above $30, just off the highs. ETFs added 23 tons of gold in the last trading session. You hear that, folks? The biggest one-day increase since 2022. ETFs added 23 tons of gold. My goodness. Remarkable. And look at that. So you got, this is, I think gold's got room, man. Gold has had a remarkable surge higher, even in the face of a strong dollar. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll talk about it a little bit more. But check out this chart, okay? Gold-backed ETF holdings. Yeah, it sank from 2022 to 2024. Now, we had a run since then, but now look at that acceleration. We're coming back, folks. We'll talk some gold. We'll talk some equities. Don't go away. If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to most people. They think it's too volatile and risky. Most people aren't going to take the time to educate themselves on how to do it right. But you're not most people, are you? At TFNN, you'll get the guidance you need to refine your strategies and techniques to invest like a pro. Because you'll be a pro. All TFNN subscriptions, books, software, and courses are available at TFNN.com. And I'm even going to tell you how to get them for less. Use TFNN's Tiger Dollars and you'll get up to a 20% bonus on your purchase. And once you apply them to your account, Tiger Dollars are automatically used for all future or recurring charges. Tiger Dollars also never expire, are fully transferable, and are a great way to add savings to your newsletters or services. Become the investor you were born to be at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
This portion of the Morning Market Kickoff is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Welcome back, folks. We got markets slightly in the green. S&P's up by 16 points right now. NASDAQ 100 in the green. Dow in the green as well. Russell slightly in the red this morning. And yes, we jump back to that dollar gold conversation. So, we kick things off with this chart talking about, 23 tons of gold in the last trading session. Remarkable, man. The biggest one-day increase since 2022. Okay, I wouldn't think this is happening. Okay, this is really bullish data. You talk about price and volume, folks. This is price and volume. Okay. When you talk about adding that much, you're talking about inflows. I love talking with the analysts from Direxion, Elliot Wallenbach. He always talks inflows. I love it because that's what drives markets, folks, especially. Okay, and you see the acceleration, and these are holdings in tons. And it's remarkable that we have had a dramatic uptick, okay, in like the last quarter alone, when gold was already had made its run from 1,600 to 2,600, right? And now we're getting inflows with hundreds of tons of gold in the ETFs. Remarkable. Now, you take a look at the dollar, okay? We go back to the lows, which are basically October 1st. It's essentially September 30th, okay? You compare that to what gold did. Now remember, dollar trades from October 1st to January 13th, okay? You go look at gold. So there is, gold was trading at 26.88 when the dollar was at 100. Okay, the dollar charges higher to 110 And all that happens, okay, is that you get a consolidation in gold of about this area. I'm going to do it. That's the trading action in gold, folks, when you had the dollar contract go from 100 to 110. Look what's happened since then. We're up another $300. Okay, there's another leg here. That was there was remarkable strength in this gold contract priced in dollars that strengthened by almost 10% to not even budge. And yeah, you got some volatility, okay? And this was part of it from November 1st to November 15th. Let's see what the dollar did in that time. Yeah, right? This was part of it. There you get an acceleration around the election. Okay, you really have the dollar plow higher from 104 to 108. So you see how the move mattered, okay? That's when you got a decline, but then you keep getting the accelerations, even in the face of a higher dollar. Now what has happened? We've pulled back. No matter what, man, now we have inflows, okay? And yeah, look at where we are. We're at 2,700 tons of holdings, and meanwhile, back in 2001, 2022, ETFs held, 10, 20% more money in that market. You back up gold. All right, we're talking about when gold was chopping around at 1,800, folks. You had inflows in holdings in ETFs well above where we are right now. How does it make sense? My dad would say, right? There's more people in the store this time, okay? More people in the store right now. They're ramping it up. And I think there's room for higher prices on gold. Everything's lining up, man, and now we get inflows. So gold, 3,026. The dollar's going to matter for sure, okay, as it chops around at 104. But remarkable strength for that gold contract, to put it lightly. All right. And yeah, yesterday I was talking about Mr. Lutnick, okay, because his actions are despicable. I would not hang out with a person like that who tried to bastardize people on Social Security and said anybody who asked any questions is probably a criminal thief. And now this story strikes yesterday. Folks, I want the world to be okay for Tommy in 20 or 30 years. No matter where you fall in the political aisle, okay, this is the reason why you want professionals. The man running the Defense Department, I put him most importantly at this, okay? But you got everybody in here. How do you have a group chat? Here's what I'll say on it, okay? Because I think we all know how we feel. I'm sure we've all heard this article by now. Couple things to take away from it. Number one, we're all familiar with group chats to a certain degree. Random numbers occasionally pop up in group chats. Maybe you got an event you're going to. Maybe you got some kind of thing. Maybe you don't know every number. If you don't know every number on a group chat that's discussing strikes going on overseas, I don't understand how that makes sense. The more intriguing part of it is that you have all of the officials messaging on Signal, and that chat was set to delete after multiple days. So for everybody out there that's all upset about record keeping and private servers that might be able to hide communications that don't go to the legality of records in government being kept, whether you think that this was a divulgement of war plans, which it was, okay, the president's going to say it's not, and Pete Hegseth, a Fox News talking head, listen, I'm always hopeful for the best, okay? But hope and reality are not the same thing, okay? I'm hopeful. So you know what? This guy's a decorated veteran. So what if he's a Fox talking head? Let's see what he can do. That's shameful, folks, okay? And now he's coming out saying he wasn't texting war plans. He was texting war plans, and he was doing it in a Signal app that was set to delete all the communications so there'd be no record of it. I encourage you, no matter where you fall in the political aisle, to bring the same amount of scrutiny to this administration as you would any, because the hypocrisy everywhere is a problem. And this is shameful, and nobody's going to take accountability. And Hegseth's already out there just saying he wasn't texting war plans, and they're almost taking advantage of the nature of the reporter who's not divulging exactly what was said in the interest of national security. And so they're using that against him almost to say the details of war plans weren't discussed. That's all I'll say. Folks, they had the head of a news organization on their group chat discussing exactly what type of ammunitions they were going to use, and a random number is in there. This is why we have processes in government, okay, and laws exist for record keeping to keep track of these things to make sure they don't exist in the future. You don't just put a lot of people in place and let them message on Signal about bombing people in Europe, okay, or abroad, wherever you call, okay? You're going to hear a lot of talk. You're going to hear Trump tonight. You're going to hear Pete Hegseth, okay, make it about some type of culture war, I'm sure. This isn't how Americans stay safe, folks, and you should be really upset that they're messaging in Signal with it set to delete. There's no defense of this whatsoever. It's failure at every level, okay? And there's a reason why Hegseth, okay, shouldn't have been in there, period now. That's it. No Secretary of Defense should be messaging on Signal with phone numbers he doesn't even recognize with war plans. Yeah, so stand up for what's right, folks, and don't get shamed into not saying anything. We'll be right back.
This year has already been a wild ride for the market. We started off heavily in the red, traversed back to all-time highs, and we now have a trade war looming. Trying to play this chop as an individual trader leads to death by 1,000 cuts. Where does this market go next? Should I add to this position or cut my losses? Where is the next opportunity? Tariffs, trade wars, analysis paralysis. Don't become a victim of this intense market. Instead, join Larry Pesavento for the second and fourth Friday of every month for 3 hours of live trading. Larry has been through many markets just like this one, and the insight he provides is invaluable. The dates for this month are March 14th and 28th, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern Time. Get in here and let's start trading. TFNN, educating investors.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstack's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstack releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks, and we got the S&Ps up by 12 right now to kick off the trading session. Jump back to a 5-minute chart. Up by 12 right now. S&P is trading at 58.27. NASDAQ 100 up by about 26. We get a little bit of a trade lower right now around the market open. 20,401 for the NASDAQ 100. Let's jump around to some of the Magnificent Seven. Apple shares basically flat. We were higher in the pre-market. Look at that. We dipped by about $1 coming into the open on Apple. We jump over to Amazon shares. Quite a day yesterday. We trade higher. We're up by about 1/3%. Microsoft up by 0.2% right now. You jump over to NVIDIA shares. Down by about 0.7% for NVIDIA. We check out some of the car companies. GM up by about 0.6% right now. Ford up by 0.6% as well. We keep our eye on the airlines. A little bit of a lift. We'll see if we can get a sustained rally in these airlines. It has been quite a pullback, man. Talk about volatility. So much for tech stocks. How about just trading airlines for some volatility, man? From $37, you almost double in price up to $69.98, and just like that, you almost give it all back in the span of what? 7 months? Something like that. Remarkable. And, if you're looking for what's potential here, something like Delta, a 382 even brings you up to almost $53 right now. And we're right now, we've actually gotten above the bar of March 11th on Delta, which was that big volume day out there. Slide it up. Yeah, we're trading at 49.86. We're going to have some volatility, but no real huge signs of strength there. You see the volume on Delta. Nothing too dramatic on this whole bounce compared to what we had, especially in the acceleration lower. Similar with the indices. All right, take a look at these indices for a second. The volume just keeps dropping, folks. You can draw a trend line. Right there. Right? And that's not exactly how trend lines work, okay, in terms of trend lining volume. But guess what? There it is, man. All right. Even on a day like yesterday, huge price expansion. Huge. And what happens? Less volume. We had the lowest volume day yesterday, going back to literally almost the market highs. That's tough to get excited for. Okay. It doesn't mean it's going to roll over, but there's not quality volume in this market right now, period. End of sentence. Okay. We've had declining volume since March 4th. And March 4th is right where we're coming into right now. Okay, I was looking at this market right now, and that's what I found myself thinking. Man, March 4th is coming where we're coming into right now. Okay, well, we better be careful. Because all we've done is trade back to where we had a real acceleration in volume, where we peaked, and we're at about 58.26, and we're just in that bar. But not encouraging. We were doing 2.5 million contracts in the S&P, 2.5, 2 million, 2 million, 2 million on March 17th. We did 1.3 million yesterday, folks. 1.3 million. And the market exploded higher. So be careful. NASDAQ 100, not quite as pronounced, but pretty similar. Yesterday, one of the lowest days. Not as low as March 17th, but look at the 2 days in here. We have the one day from March 14th. You did get a bid on some volume off the lows. You jump higher on the 17th on Monday on the least volume we've had, basically going back to the beginning of that acceleration lower. And yesterday's another low day. 547,000 contracts on the NASDAQ 100 versus doing 700,000 to 800,000 on that acceleration lower for the entirety of the time. And Dow, even more pronounced almost on the drop-off. Dow, we did what, 85,000? And I'm not a huge fan of the Dow. I don't even cover it sometimes, folks, okay? The Dow, being a price-weighted index, makes 0 sense whatsoever, period. That doesn't mean you can't trade it. It's a basket of stocks, almost like any ETF is, okay? But nonetheless, the theme here is less volume, period. Jump over to the gold contract. Gold's volume plows higher to 3,000. And yesterday, we did get an acceleration. Gold holding up well. We're up by $15 right now. We jump over the dollar. Dollar trading at 103.98. All right, let's jump to yields real quick before we do. We're going to jump to the dollar. Bloomberg's got a good piece talking about an opinion piece with the 10-year right now basically flat, sitting near almost 4.35%. So this is an opinion piece from Bloomberg. The dollar is exceptional, like it or not. Okay, and there's a lot of talk about the dollar, right? What's going to happen? What's going to happen with tariffs? What's going to happen with exceptionalism? The dollar's been on a heck of a run. When we were the only game in town when the Fed was hiking rates, folks, boy, there was nothing like that run we had. Let me back it up. Got to go 5-year weekly now. That's the run, man, from 89 to 115. Remarkable. Let's go back even a little bit further. How crazy is it that you got to go back A 5-year weekly doesn't even encompass COVID on the charts anymore, folks. A 5-year weekly doesn't even encompass the COVID acceleration on the charts. I find that remarkable. 100, you talk about a critical area, right? Whether you're talking about going all the way back to 2015, that was your acceleration higher. King dollar, right? We chop around. 2020, that's where COVID hit, okay? You were at 100 coming into COVID. You drive lower to 90, and then boom, what happens? Inflation takes hold. The Fed ramps up rates at a pace that we had not seen in some time, and we were so far ahead of everybody else in terms of the Fed, and the Fed was even late to the party, right? But the Fed should have probably been hiking rates earlier. Inflation had not spread to other areas as quickly as it had here. The Fed started hiking. Our interest rates dwarfed anything else going on in the developed world. So there was a flow to our yields. There was a demand for our yields, and that put a demand in the dollar. Okay, now, as we started, and I'm going to go back to a 5-year weekly now, to put it in, as the Fed thought about the premise that they would begin cutting, as the market got ahead of itself, right, thinking that transitory was vogue, the Fed had hiked, it was transitory, they were going to be able to cut rates rapidly. Once that transitory inflation went away, the dollar plummeted from 114 to 102. And it is remarkable that now, over a period of about 2.5 years, we've been chopping around between 100 and 110. Okay, so with that in the context, right, it's had a great run. Prevailing sentiment is now one of anxiety, right? Where's the dollar going to be? Is it going to be the established leader since it's been 1945? Now, you know, if we start cutting off the rest of the world, folks, there's a problem that may be in the future. That's where part of this logic comes from, and cutting off the world. All right, we're not cutting off the world, but isolationism, there's certain veins going on right now that could be a threat to that supremacy. But here's the kicker, okay, and I agree with the premise. The dollar's exceptional. That's the deal, and that's the way it's going to stay. Hey, listen, anything can happen, man. You got the Secretary of Defense out there tweeting war plans on a Signal app that's going to delete after 2 days, and he's including journalists, okay? Trump's already out there blaming his staffer. Folks, the buck stops here, okay? It's garbage what's happening. I'm hopeful, okay? When Trump gets in, I don't agree with everything he's doing. January 6th, I saw the videos. I think for myself, all those people let out of jail, okay? We make our own opinions, but I was hopeful for good things that could happen, even if I disagreed with some. You can't blame a staffer for what happened. Number one, you shouldn't be talking about those types of things. You can't have government communications on messaging apps that are meant to delete. Okay? There's multiple levels going on here. So yes, it doesn't have to be exceptional forever if the ineptitude of that level. Oh, we're going to break. I'll finish it up.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening Call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds from both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direxion. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. And yeah, we get the dollar chopping around about 104 right now. S&P's up by 9. And you know, it's bonkers, man. And I can't help. This is a business show. It's an equity show. But guess what? All right. There are things that are going to matter that are bigger picture. And, you know, there's a lot of chirping. There's a lot of silence. Usually whenever you touch on anything with Trump, everybody comes out of the woodwork to defend him. I don't know how you defend it all, folks. OK, this is Trump's ambassador to the EU, Gordon Sondland. He says the media is going to turn this into a story of incompetence and inexperience, which it's not. In the past, Signal's been used as secure as many so-called top secret encrypted. No, it's not, okay? They had everybody on this chat, folks. You're talking about 18 members, and nobody said, hey, I don't recognize all these phone numbers. Why are we chatting about all this on Signal? Okay? You're telling me that you got... Anyway, it's unfortunate, folks, all right? And I just, you know, whether Waltz goes, whether Hegseth goes, okay? You're talking about that it's an abominable failure that anybody could understand why you don't talk about that type of stuff prior to actual, you know, there's real people that are serving. There's people's children that are over there conducting those bombs, okay, that are serving in those areas. And you have chats going on with emojis of every top official in the administration that include numbers that they don't know who exist. So you're going to hear it all, folks, okay? But make sure that you hold people accountable for what you want. I'm always hopeful, okay? I'm not a hater, but I call it like I see it. And that's the problem with what's going on right now. You're going to hear that this is not a big deal. It is a big deal, period. End of story. All right, that's the last. We'll talk about it. We jump over to Boeing shares. Boeing, they're building the new fighter jet. We don't even know anything about it, but it's going to give a lift to the equity. We're up by almost 20% from where we were just 2 weeks ago. Remarkable. From 311 up, from 145 up to 180. Okay. You add, what was that? Yeah, $35 in the price of Boeing. We'll take a little bit big picture on your monthly. And, you know, maybe you're catching a bid, but what I will say is, where's the volume? Right, I was looking at this one last night. Where's the volume? The volume's all at the low. All right, yeah, you got a little volume, and boy, that is quite a candle. You drive down, you get it all back, right? You got a candle that went down to 145. You're going to finish the month looking at 180. We have a rejection of lower price, and you do get some volume, but nothing like we had the volume at the lows here. Nothing like we had at the sell-off at the beginning of last year in January. And boy, you talk about some headwinds to get into it for Boeing. Nonetheless, Boeing flat this morning. Jump over some other equities. NVIDIA, they trade lower on the open by 1.3% right now. Amazon shares up by 0.7%. Keep our eye on Apple shares, up by about 0.5% to $221.93 for Apple. Jump over to Disney, catches a little bit of a bid, up by 0.8% this morning. Streamers, Netflix. Look at Netflix, man. Almost pushing 1,000 yet again. 981, up from 860. What, 2.5, 3 weeks ago? You got volatility everywhere in this market, man. We check back in on the gold contract. Yeah, gold continuing to climb. We're up by $18 right now. 3,033. We're coming into the highs of early yesterday. Remarkable strength in that gold contract. You jump over to silver. All right, let's see if silver can crack these highs. Hasn't been able to do it yet. We got 35.07 hanging out there. We're bumping up against that area for the last few weeks. We're trading at 34.29. But yeah, how about silver on the volume, right? Not the kind of strength you probably like to see. You know, maybe you get a breakaway, but we need a sign of strength in silver, folks. If you're looking for silver, if you're looking for some lag, some catch-up in silver, you really want to see some volume pick up, right? We've had declining volume ever since we basically traded to this area of 32.50. You make it up there in May on 513,000 contracts on a weekly basis. We did half of that volume last week. You did 293,000 contracts the week prior. Not the type of strength you'd like to see. Gold, somewhat similar, but not as pronounced. The one thing I will say is, boy, those ETFs, right? Putting in some gold. Talking about the GLD. Yeah, there's some inflows. It's probably what they're talking about, man. You see the rise in the GLD. 52 million shares, 50 million shares, 50 million shares on a weekly basis as we push highs in the GLD, as we get the markets in positive territory. All right, what else have we got pulled up? Yeah, we talk gold, we talk oil. Let's talk a little Google and AI. This one is an interesting one. The race is on, man, right? We jump over to Google shares. Google up today by about 0.5%. Google off of the highs of 208. So what? $38 off the highs. Almost a 15% pullback, 16, 17% pullback from the highs. But what this is talking about is they need an answer to ChatGPT. Yeah, big changes are underway, and Google may never be the same as they put it. Rather than just have the search engine serve up familiar links, how about a chatbot greets visitors at the search results page and offers to answer questions directly? This was in 2021, okay? You have the CEO been talking about it for years. Well, they better get there, man, because that's where it's going. Google's ruled that, I remember, you know what's funny is I went to Villanova, folks. I went to Villanova from 1998 to 2002. And I remember my sophomore year of Villanova. So I'm checking into my sophomore year. I had pledged a fraternity my freshman year, Alpha Tau Omega. The Iota Omicron chapter at Villanova of Alpha Tau Omega. And so sophomore year, I'm moving into a dorm on campus, and one of my brothers, if you've been watching the show, the same gentleman, Jason Silione, he lives over in beautiful Switzerland right now. He's where I was a year and a half ago with Tommy when I traveled to Mallorca, Spain. He lives in Zurich now, works for UBS, and I'm rooming with him, and he comes in our sophomore year and says, man, don't use anything else. He says this product, Google, has changed the world, and he was a real computer guy at the time. I was more into finance. He was a computer guy, and it's remarkable. That was 1999, maybe 2000. Okay, it was my sophomore year of college, and it's been the preeminent since then. Okay, search generated $198 billion in revenue in 2024, almost 60% of their annual sales. It's just one of these things that you have a little bit of an outlier risk on Google right now. And listen, Google's great, okay? There's nothing like YouTube. If YouTube was its own product, and listen, everything is multiples, right? How is it priced? You're going to be a buyer at this type of a multiple. But there's nothing like YouTube, man. YouTube, everybody loves YouTube. It's never going away. The amount of ads they're going to be able to sell on YouTube is not going away, okay? But I find myself using ChatGPT all the time versus Google. And I think it's something that many people that use Google would probably have a huge advantage if they knew the other services that are out there, and they're not quite open to them just yet. And so, yeah, Google better figure it out. And what does happen, if you've searched anything on Google, they do have, right? You get a little bit of a pop-up now. You get an AI assistant. They're trying to tell you what's going on. But there's an outlier risk there, okay? When you have all your eggs in one basket, which Google does. Okay, that's not Apple. Apple, they sell phones too, but they got services, Google as well. We'll talk a little bit more about search and ChatGPT. We'll come right back, folks.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Back, folks. A little bit of negative action to start off the trading session. S&P's up by 4 right now. NASDAQ 100 hanging on to gains by about 27 points. Dow and Russell slightly in the red. Jumping back to that Google conversation. And yeah, even talking about it in the den, right? So there's Grok, which is out there for Elon and X. And then you have, Gemini is another one out there that is a good one. Even myself, I've only really tried ChatGPT. And that's why I say a lot of people haven't even tried ChatGPT, right? A lot of people, we're, creatures of tendencies. We repeat, you get in the same routines. So changing those personal habits comes with time usually. And, we're just talking about the search functions. But if you haven't tried them, folks, and I am going to try and get out there and check out Gemini and, Grok, and I say it seriously, I'll give it a try, but I don't really trust Elon with my information, man. I don't like to use Twitter, and I'm not going to open up my entire photo album on my camera. I wanted to, save a photo or post a photo on Twitter, X, in the last few months, and I just don't trust Elon with all my pictures, man. I just don't do it. I don't, you have to, you all have your choices, right? Certain people don't trust certain. Because, boy, you start giving it data. But then you go deeper. Okay, that's just simple search functions. It's like the umpteenth more advanced that you can do, right? We're talking about dudettes in there. I mean, the writing function, folks. And the output is only as good as the query, okay? The output is only as good as the query. And then you can edit things. So practice it, get good at the queries to give yourself the output you want. And then when you get into I heard something talking about at a symposium recently. I was watching a YouTube clip of some type of symposium, and they were talking about Y Combinator, right? And the companies that come to it. And they were talking about those startups, 95% of their code is written by AI, and those startups are started by brilliant technical founders that could write the AI code, the code themselves. It's all done by AI, folks. Code writing, Tommy's not going to learn code writing. He's going to learn how to use ChatGPT to write code, along with many other things, I'm sure. All right, folks, we jumped around this morning. It was a fast action morning. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for Basil coming up next. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great one, everybody.